behind this spiritual war is to end the child trafficking.
Am I free to talk about this now? Warning, the opinions on this channel are controversial. You may or may not agree with them, but I assure you, if you hear me out, you will most definitely see where I'm coming from. I'm aware that anything I say can and will be used against me in the court of the comments. See you there.
Some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarmingly, some media outlets publish these stories that simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
All right, so what's going on, Internet? This is your boy, J Noir. It's been a little minute since I've done one of these videos. For you guys who know me, good to see you again. For those who don't, I can't wait to introduce myself and also explain the reason for posting this video, and I think it'll catch everyone else up. Miss you guys.
It's good to see you again too. I missed you.
So I originally had a channel back in 2016, maybe 2017, that was largely focused on what people used to call conspiracy theory. Some crazy conspiracy about blackmail rings involved with like Hollywood and the government, stuff like that. But anyway, that all turned out to be true. What did happen though is shadow banning started to become a thing. Basically, there were certain topics that the last time I was on YouTube, that as soon as you said the word, your channel was getting banned. I've actually bore witness to a channel that got banned right in the middle of a live show. The topic he was on was QAnon, which personally I'm not a person who believes in what people think that QAnon was, but that's not what I want to get into it. That's not what this video is. My point was, at the time I was like, oh damn, maybe I don't need to be online talking about this stuff. I mean, not that I care about my channel being deleted because I didn't really have that many subs, but it was also like, well, I guess the word's kind of getting big enough where people are starting to talk about it, and I don't know how to talk without being banned, but I don't know that that's 100% the issue, but I'm going to do my best to skirt around certain words so that I don't get caught up in the tripwire, the algorithm tripwire. So then, like many people, the 2020 election looked a little fishy to me. And I'm not going to say one way or the other, but at the time I was actually attending whatever protests were around me here in Atlanta. And any place that I was, I guess, trying to create content, and not to put anything on Trump, but it has been, since Trump's been around, that we have been definitely living in some monumental times, and politics has now become trending. So at any rate, a friend of mine, he asked me if I wanted to go to another protest that turned out to be the most infamous day, worst day ever in the history of the United States, according to a lot of people. What I was told was there was a protest going on for people who thought that maybe there was a lack of election integrity, which I think for every election there's probably a lack of integrity, but I believe in that one particular one. I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of people would feel the same way I do in thinking that there was some fishy stuff going on, but there's probably a little bit of fishy stuff going on all the time, and I'm not saying it would have even changed the outcome of the election, but there were a lot of questions that never got answered. So on January sorry.
Well, I'm so sorry.
So on January the 5th, 2021, we embarked on a journey northbound to the infamous pentagram of the United States. Anyway, so we went to Washington, D.C. for the protest, the one that everyone just can't shut the fuck up about. Okay, so we get to Washington on the 5th. Stay in a hotel. I mean, this is almost too many details. Shit. It's a rainy day. Cold. Washington is cold. And yeah, it was just a speech. It was just a bunch of people there. There wasn't any kind of weird mood. There wasn't like any sort of riotous mood. Everyone was just hanging out. The speech was over, and then there was I guess it looked more like a parade or a march. And let me take a little side note here. There were a lot of people of different races there, particularly even in the march and at the speech. There were a lot of Chinese people there.
China!
They were holding a few signs, and they were thought-provoking at the very least. The reason I'm covering people's eyes here is because I'm trying to preserve their privacy, obviously. Even though Trump did give pardons to people from that day, and hopefully no one else will be getting charged because I think enough evidence has come out that it was a very peaceful protest. So we all marched down to the White House. And again, there's no riotous mood. Everyone's actually in a great mood. People just shaking hands, talking to each other. There's really nothing weird about it. And then when we got to the White House, by the time we got there, this is the part that kind of makes it weird about the timing. Ashley Babbitt had already been shot by the time the people from the parade or from the march got to the White House. So, you know, the way that it's being told is like Trump encouraged everyone to go down here and bash into this place. I think the people were already in the building, and all of that happened while Trump was actually in the middle of his speech. I think we got there maybe 30 minutes or an hour after she had already been shot. So a lot of that stuff had already taken place. And not to mention, I have another friend that went up there as well, and he didn't go to the speech, and he went straight to the building. And yeah, they were already over the barricade. I'll put some of that footage here too. And they were already over the barricade, and there were people in the building long before Trump was even done talking. I'm not saying I'm smashing any, narratives or this is like breaking information, but just from a person that was there, this is the way that it went down. So outside the building, everyone's actually in a really good mood.
Hold on, let me turn this bitch around.
You see these pictures, and again, look at this. A lot, I don't know what the percentage was, but it wasn't the white supremacist rally that I heard that I was at when I got back to the hotel. I feel like the mainstream media sort of misconstrued what went on that day, but again, this isn't a breaking video. It's just, these are new photos that nobody's seen, and so is this piece of footage. I do want to show you some stuff here where there are a couple of guys that, I don't know that they were paid antagonizers, but I think a lot of people that were in the crowd that I was in felt that way, myself included. And you'll hear me yelling here. I'm going to try to bleep out some of the more profane words, but it's "see you next Tuesday" is what I was calling them.
I back the bully. But I don't back Trump.
Walk out of here! I don't care!
This guy is the fucking plant, you saying? Are you saying this guy right fucking...
Why she got a knife? Yeah, why you don't fake too?
Who the fuck are you, bro?
An instigator. That's what I'm saying. And she's saying, hey, back off. You're fake too. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are fake, bitch.
Yeah, I'm going to pause the video here on a couple of these guys' faces. These two people right here, and the only reason I'm doing that for them particularly is because they were off vibe. Like, everyone else seemed to be in the same kind of mood. And these two guys right here were like starting to fight with females.
You are fake. Get the fuck out of here. You too.
Yo! Don't fucking touch the goddamn face. Yo! Yeah, these guys are fucking Antifa, G. These guys are Antifa right here.
Who, Antifa?
These people right here. Fucking Antifa. Get that fucking...
So I don't know. I really do feel like something weird was going on with these two guys, but I don't know. It's just a hunch. I mean, I'm not going to be a conspiracy theorist and say, or wait, I'm not going to say with certainty what was going on with them. This is just the vibe that I got and the people around me got. The other people who brought the bad vibe were the police. They were beating the shit out of people. And I'm not saying there was no reason for any sort of pushback, because I didn't witness everything that happened before. And I'll show some footage here, but there were people pressing on the door. There was a constant pepper spray being sprayed out the door.
Easy, fellas.
And I think there was a little bit of Braveheart yelling, "Hold the line." I actually was really getting into that. So it wasn't exactly like the most peaceful thing, like I guess right at the door, but like right outside the door, it was actually really peaceful. Outside of the fact that when you see a group of police officers pull up in a bus, and then
Big line. See him on there? Oh shit! Holy 12! I don't want her. Yeah. I'm going back up. I don't want her. Whoa! Yeah, give me my question. Are they?
pretty much lined themselves up on the building and just beat everyone off the building.
Damn, he's looking over his ass.
And I'll show you some footage here where there's flash grenades, I believe they're called.
Watch it go! Watch it! Watch it go!
Boom! Fuck!
But yeah, the violence was actually coming from them, which, I mean, I'm not saying that it was unjustified. You know, they had to do what they had to do, I guess. But it was just ironic that the people that were there were mostly pro-police, as far as I remember. And while the people who would have been at a different protest would have been kind of like, defund the police. Oh yeah, and here's this guy, actually. You know, I had a conversation with him. I was like, wow, that's a really cool Viking outfit you got on. Sound like a nice guy. He's just talking about the banking system, holding us back and blah, blah, blah. You know, just, you know, run-of-the-mill conspiracies. Brings me to another point. The only actual damage that I saw happening from the protesters there was CNN stuff. And I'm just going to put some stuff here. CNN was trying to film, and then I myself was actually right next to that barricade and started yelling at them, get the fuck out of here, you know, you guys are part of the fucking problem, blah, blah, blah. And yes, a group of guys did go over that barricade and kind of destroy CNN's camera gear. I think one guy made out with the camera, but the rest of them just left their stuff and just ran off. But other than that, I mean, even, I'm trying to find this picture of like the trash. Like even when we were left and everyone was beat off the building, all of the trash was put in proper trash receptacles. And I've never seen that in a protest from the left. And I normally don't record trash because it's just not something I think about. But I did notice that it was cleaned up. And that is pretty peculiar for it to be a protest. But it's neither here nor there. Supposedly that was the insurrection, the worst day ever. Yeah, everyone was really polite, actually. It was the most polite, you know, attempted takeover of the government that I've ever seen. Most peaceful, non-weapon having coup that I've ever seen or heard of anyway. Now that I've seen everything that's come from that day, it's like, do I regret going there? It was cool. It was a cool experience. I mean, I wasn't as cool as the media made it out to be, but it was actually pretty badass, and I got some good photos. I didn't even have to be that great of a photographer to even get those photos. I mean, it was just cool, kind of time-life looking stuff, you know, put some black and white on there. But do I believe that there was some screwiness going on with the election? I definitely do. Do I feel like I was fooled into being part of some sort of photo op that made the right look bad? Which I don't even think that I'm really from the right, so to speak. But do I feel like that happened? Yeah, I kind of do. And that part I do regret. But, you know, for the experience and actually just to have been there as opposed to heard what happened and know exactly how the vibe was and what was going down as opposed to, you know, just trying to get a slighted view and have to make my guess based off the information that they're giving me. Yeah, it definitely was a cool experience. And it looks like there's probably going to be more, and I'm going to try to show up to those as well. But I don't want to make my channel completely about stuff like that, but I'm just saying it's just kind of an explanation of where I've been or why I'm starting right now, because I feel like it's actually a more free place now. We can talk on the internet again, and, you know, it's not like I'm looking to say anything like overly offensive anyway, but yeah, it's still better than being scared of going to jail for saying I just went to a place and took pictures and just stood around, you know. Anyway, thank you everyone for tuning in, especially you guys. Missed you. Sorry about the cheese. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys on the next round. Damn, what the fuck do you say at the end of one of these things? I can't remember. Whatever.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.